club. One of my friends slipped it in my drinks, and I thought it was fun, you know.
Molly.
Got really happy, talked to a lot of people.
I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
And the thing about Molly, with my experience, is you don't realize, you think it's not gonna happen or not gonna work. Felt like I was being swallowed. Everything was coming in waves, and every wave was like it was swallowing me.
You know, all my friends decided to be cool. We got some Molly. The next day just really sucked. I was just really depressed. It sucked. I didn't feel normal again. And it was after that I just decided, you know, it wasn't for me. I wasn't going to take it again.
Whether it's taken as a pill or as crystals, most users of ecstasy take the drug orally. It starts to disintegrate in the stomach, and by the time it reaches the small intestine, the particles are small enough to be absorbed into the bloodstream. The drug is pumped to the heart and lungs, and then to the rest of the body. At the brain, the molecules are carried through tiny capillaries, whose walls are thick enough to protect the brain from most impurities. But MDMA molecules can slip through the capillary walls and cross into the brain. When MDMA is snorted, it rockets up the nostril and coats the nasal walls. MDMA molecules are absorbed through the nasal membrane, directly into capillaries on the other side. Within 20 minutes, the blood has carried the MDMA around the body and into the brain, where it's ready to start work. As ecstasy gets inside the brain, it releases the chemical serotonin, which affects our mood. Serotonin latches onto receptors on the neighbouring nerve cell, starting a chain reaction of feel-good messages. Normally, excess serotonin is reabsorbed into the nerve cell that released it, but MDMA stops this process happening. It means serotonin builds up in the gap, and the loved-up messages increase. Serotonin also triggers the release of a hormone called oxytocin from a gland in the brain. Oxytocin is known as the cuddle chemical and is naturally released to help human bonding. For example, after sex. The energetic high that ravers feel on the dance floor happens because ecstasy triggers activity in another network in the brain. In this network, a chemical messenger called dopamine transmits messages that control movement. It all results in a burst of physical energy.
You will dance to anything.
Anything.
Nerves in this network control and order what's going on all over the brain and make sure we stay focused on the stuff that's important. When chemical messengers are released from cells in this network, instead of stimulating activity, it dampens things down, allowing other more creative areas of the brain to run free. Hypothermia starts in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. This acts as our thermostat. It's the part of the brain that's in charge of regulating temperature all over the body and telling us how hot or cold we are. Experts think the big release of serotonin in this part of the brain could be enough to stop the body's thermostat working properly. And in hot clubs, the body temperature can rise rapidly. Without cooling the body, overheating can quickly set in major organs like the liver. When the body temperature tips over 40 degrees, the proteins that make up our cells stop functioning properly.
They change their structure, a bit like when you heat milk. When you heat milk, you get a skin on, and that's because the proteins in the milk lock together.
The proteins bind, causing the cells to stop working and the organ to shut down. The liver is where drugs are processed to remove toxic elements. Enzymes normally break down ecstasy and send the toxic elements onto the kidneys, where they leave the body through urine. But some people can't break down ecstasy properly because they don't have enough of these enzymes. So more of the toxic waste from the drug is left in the liver. This waste can kill liver tissue, and when more than 90% of it is destroyed, a transplant may be the only option.
Molly is everywhere on campus. Molly is probably the most profitable drug on campus. They can sell like fucking pizza.
Well, like any college campus, Loyola has an abundance of drugs, but Molly in particular, I mean, I certainly know quite a few people who have used it or use it frequently. But I mean, if you take the population here and like see the percentage, it's not like a whole lot of people, but it's still pretty prevalent. How do I feel about it on campus? Everyone has a choice, so I mean, it's certainly having it around. It's a little more tempting, I will say that. So in that regard, I guess Molly probably isn't the best thing to have on campus, but you know, you always have a choice. You don't have to do it, so.
No, I don't see ecstasy or Molly on campus, and it doesn't bother me because I'm not around it.
Because the shit's like kind of scary now. Like in a bad way.